Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Thank you for watching this video. I'm here driving the bus with Inti. Say
Hello,
hi to everybody.
people.
And he's going to be checking the chat room, making sure you behave yourselves, and also looking for questions that you are interesting to know. And I will do my best to answer. Today, we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of Bitcoin and whether it goes up or down. Do they change? Do the core fundamentals of Bitcoin change? And before that, we're going to also do some technical analysis and also talk about Peter Schiff, ranting about Bitcoin going down and stuff like that. Yeah, so I mean, we're just gonna be an episode talking about all this stuff, and also I'm gonna be talking about the gold Dow ratio, right, and how that has broken out right now, and that's really interesting to see. So let's start with our Bitcoin TA for today, and I'm going to switch over the screen here, and I'm going to. Is this good enough? Yeah, you know what? You don't need to see up here. Okay, so well, as you can see, the last 2 weeks have been brutal. Bitcoin has dropped down to where it was, but the good thing is, right down here is the nice buying zone. If you can get Bitcoin on cheap at $7,200, 7,200 is like really cheap Bitcoins where you should be like picking up some serious Bitcoins. But even down here, I'm currently in a long trade. I think I'm going to exit because I think this thing's going to roll over, right? But let's just go down to the lower time frames to see what we can see before we decide to, hey, you know what, dump my trade, because I got a few buy orders down here, a sprinkle of buy orders down there. So, and yeah, you can see that Bitcoin has risen a bit from the slumps, whilst the stock market has also done the same thing during the futures hours. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. 4 hour has, like I said, caught up to the 13 EMA. We were talking about that on the Crypto show, I believe. And let's see. Oops, look, I did not draw that correctly. There we go. Alrighty. So I'm going to make sure that that's set right. Yes. Yes. There we go. So the 38.2, wouldn't be surprised if we actually touch it, maybe even give a shot at the 50% or the 61.8. Yeah, because 61.8, well, I'd say the 50% because the 50% is probably where this guy lost a lot of money here, this guy. And so they're probably not going to give him a chance to get out. Now, and then roll this thing over a little bit. I really don't think these tails are this V bottom is going to I know it looks like a W, but it's not really. You could count it, but I wouldn't. And so it's really effectively a V bottom. What we need to do is come back down, not break this low of $7,636. I wonder if it closed the gap. I don't think it did. Let's take a look at that. If it closed the gap, the CME gap. I don't think so. I mean, it came close. Like, see here. Let's see here. 70.65. And what was the, the, the level here? Hang on. Let's see here. No. Came close, though. Came really close. So maybe we have to come back down to the 76. And so I wouldn't be surprised, right, at this point in time that we come back down and close this gap. But the problem is, I think we're going to probably try to close this gap maybe first. Right? So I don't know. Should I close my trade? I'm waiting for momentum to shift, and then I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to close the trade. I don't see the momentum shifting here. Right, I'm going to check the hourly. Yeah, the hourly looks good. There, I would like to see the hourly pop a little bit higher, so that we don't create like a divergence so early here in the MACD.
People were saying that the gap is closed.
Yeah, but take a look. The gap doesn't look closed for me. Like you have this point here, and then this touch point where this gap is, where it's where this
Draw an horizontal ray.
wick
And let's see.
is at this bottom wick here. This top wick is, let's change. The top one is the green. Change colors, and the bottom one is the red, and you can see that these two numbers, right? They didn't cross over. So here we got this wick is at 7,705, and this it's really a tail, and this wick over here, where this this candle for January 6th, 2020, that candle on this daily scale here, you could see is the high point of that is 7,675.
Yeah, you're right.
Then,
it's not close.
And then the last wick that possibly was $7,715. So there's a little tiny gap between these two numbers there, causing this to say, okay, well, there's a bit of a gap. Tried to close it, but it didn't quite do it. So I'm convinced that this is not closed, in my mind. Yeah, could it be enough for it to continue going higher? Probably it is. However, when we look at the short-term time frame, this V bottom is not going to stand. We probably might even go all the way up to close the whole gap of all the way to 78.6 and close the gap, right? That's at 88,000, right? And close the CME gap. Let's see here, yeah. And yeah, that's a little bit higher. That's a little bit higher. The 9,000. 9,000 is where we close the gap on CME. But yeah, we could head up all the way up here, close this gap, and then come right back down and hammer right back down just as hard. So this is Bitcoin, and don't be surprised if it goes and does that, right? Yeah. So will it do it? Who knows for sure, but that's a possibility. We're really far away. We're really slammed down here, so I wouldn't be surprised, right? But Bitcoin does something really crazy like that. But really what it should do is go, because like this gap's going to get closed one way or another. I mean, it's obvious, right? We know because of the fundamentals of Bitcoin. Why is this gap obviously going to get, this huge gap in the CME is going to obviously get closed, even if it doesn't get closed this week or next week. Why is that? Let's talk about that for a second. All right, and it's about the Bitcoin fundamentals. Hold on. Before I go on to the Bitcoin fundamentals, I want to play something for you. I want to play a little clip for you, right? Because like this really enraged me, right? It enraged me when I heard this coming into to work today, and I'm gonna play a little bit for you. Hang on.
Buy the Euro Pacific Gold Fund. You could buy it, on Euro Pacific Fund's website, buy it at Schwab, Fidelity, or E-Trade. Call up and talk to one of my reps at Euro Pacific Capital and buy my gold fund. But the first thing is get rid of your Bitcoin, right? This should be a wake up. Think about it rationally. Take away all that nonsense and all the wishful thinking and pie in the sky, and ask yourself, why didn't Bitcoin go up? I mean, didn't everybody expect? If I had told you 6 months ago what was going to be happening, where would you have thought Bitcoin was going to be? The fact that it hasn't gone up should prove that something is wrong. And you know what? We're 2 months away now from the halving. The halving is exactly 2 years from now. And everybody in the Bitcoin community has been convinced that this is going to be a super bullish event and Bitcoin is going to take off at the halving. Well, everybody already bought it, anticipating the halving. Imagine how much selling pressure there's going to be.
Okay, so the point he's saying that to think about it rationally. I want Peter to think about this rationally. Has Bitcoin changed from when he said that it was going to zero at $1? No. In fact, it's gotten better, right? It's been improved. It's a lot easier to buy. There's a lot. It's a lot easier to hold Bitcoins, right? And there's a lot of tools you can use with Bitcoin now. Now from the difference between when it was $1 and he said it was going to zero, and today, when it was at $100 and he was saying the same stuff, sell your Bitcoins, right? Right before it goes to zero. Where did Bitcoin change from then between now? Was there any fundamental change? Can you think of something fundamental different about Bitcoin? What did it stop? Let's just take a look at some of these fundamentals. Did it stop being censorship resistant? Can you can somebody prevent you from sending it to somebody else? No. Is it permission? Did the government figure out a way to make it permission full, meaning that you have to go through them to send your money to another person? Like, I mean, you know what? I think about a friend of mine who called me up and said, "Hey, listen, I want to do a wire transfer because I'm moving to Germany and I have a bank account in Germany and I want to send some money there." And I said, "Listen, you're gonna have to go through the banks because I don't know anybody that has enough capital that you want. You want to move. She wants to move a large amount of capital, and so that kind of quantity, not a lot of people have. So, I told her, right, if you want, you can always just use Bitcoin, right? It's just that you need to you got to figure out how to do the on and off ramps and stuff like that. But yeah, you'd save a lot more money if you take the time to learn. But anyways." The point is, right, when she figured out how much she was going to lose to do a wire transfer, her jaw dropped. I told her, yeah, you know what, the going through the banking system to transfer money from international wire transfer is like going to the doctor to get a prostate exam, right? When you leave, you feel like you were like molested and raped, right? It's just horrible.
Can you say that in YouTube nowadays? I don't think so.
It's a joke, man. Really, come on. Anyways, right? Moving on. Has it been is it reversible? Did Bitcoin become reversible? Did you when you send a transaction to somebody, right, and then it ends up on the blockchain? Does it become reversible all of a sudden, and once it's on the blockchain, right? No. That's what Peter needs to say. One of these things have to have changed, right? Whether it's not worldwide, borderless, anonymous, accountable, right? Yeah, you know what? The anonymous part you might say, okay, Peter might have an argument there, right? Governments are cracking down. They're using systems, analytic systems, right now, and they're making it difficult for criminal enterprises to use Bitcoin. Ooh, big deal. Right? Yeah, right. It's not a push system, meaning that you have to send the money, meaning like for example your credit cards. I don't know if you know this, right? Your credit card is a pull system. So what that means is that once you give over your credit card to somebody online, they have the right to take as much money as they want from your account, from your credit card account, right? The only thing that stops them is that you can call in and they can get a chargeback, and it's a large, and it reflects negatively on them, chargebacks. So yeah, that's the difference between Bitcoin and your credit card. Push system is basically you have to send it, and a pull system, right, which is credit card, is that they just take it from you, right? The merchant takes the money from you. So, for example, this is why it's so easy for them to do reoccurring payments, right? Because they're just constantly taking from you the money, right? So that's how that works. Now, is Bitcoin programmable? Still programmable? Yeah, it is. You can still program, and you can do more with it. Now that SegWit's here, right? Is it relatively fast? It's not the fastest on the earth, right? But you know what? If you send a transaction, you immediately see that it shows up in another person's wallet, and yeah, if you wait a couple about 10 minutes or to an hour, you'll see that that transaction is confirmed, right? Yes, that is not lightning speed like your credit card companies, but hey, it's good enough. What are the other things that are negatives about Bitcoin? So let's talk about some of those things, right? Is that most people use light wallets, like lightweight wallets. And so, what is that, right? Lightweight wallet. Example of a lightweight wallet is actually Pandora's wallet, and same with your phone wallets, right? All of them are all lightweight wallets. So, what does that mean, right? Some people use wallets which would accept counterfeit bitcoins as payment. Despite this, Bitcoin can function as money like a good in the practice today. Now, you're like, what? You're probably shocked. Like, what? I could receive counterfeit bitcoins on my wallet, on the phone, and in Pandora's wallet? Yes and no. Okay, so the yes part is that what has to happen is that your lightweight wallet is relying on the information that another party provides you. So, if they lie to you and tell you you received bitcoins when you didn't, that's a counterfeit. So, will they do that? No, but they can. So that's the problem, and that's the only negative about Bitcoin and lightweight wallets. Now, I've written up a white paper. I should I haven't corrected it and stuff like that to design a system where people could have the option of using lightweight wallets, right? But then go, okay, you know what? I want to run my own node, and my node, right, will be my backup for my lightweight wallet. So I'm going to have a sort of like a network plan so that, hey, you know what? I'm a little nervous running, trusting my lightweight wallet on my phone or whatever device. I know the guy's good. I know I could trust them. They're that company. But you know what? I'd feel so much better if I could just stick the full node on the back end, right, to verify. Well, there you go. You can with my decentralized wallet plan. That's one of the things I'm planning to build as an option, so that you can go. Okay, you know what? On the back end, I'm going to stick in my node, and my node will be my phone and my devices will verify against my node as well, not just take the word of the third party company that's trying to that's sending me the information, basically, or the network that's sending me the information, because you could have a Electrum wallet which does connect to, is a lightning node that connects and has to trust a bunch of other nodes that are telling it, hey, this is how much Bitcoin you have. So, and there's no way to say, okay, well, I kind of really like to have my own node to do that, right? I think there is actually, now that I remember seeing something in the settings, but that you could actually point to a specific node. But I wanted to make that a standard. Anyways, moving right along. Let's with that said, thank you for listening to my rant about the Bitcoin fundamentals. And let's go on to another topic, right? Which my other altcoin that I like is gold. Gold is doing extremely well. Let's bring up the Dow Jones. Okay, where is it? Where I had it here, and I lost it. Where is my oh darn. Let's see here. I had a chart. Oh, there it is. There it is. I talked about this before, right? When the market smiles at you, it's ready to take your money. Well, I mean, you can see the stock market. Remember back here, I was saying, yeah, this is going to break down And look at that. We are breaking down from here. This level, once we broke this level, that was it. It was all the way down. And you know what? We're breaking this trend line here. If I think gold might come back into this trading range by the end of the day, probably. This is just too far, too fast down. So I would expect gold to come back in here. But the trend is already set. Doesn't matter whether it comes back into this trend line or not. It's going further down. And that means we're going to see a Dow to gold ratio sometime very soon. Probably in the next 6 months or the next 3 years. 6 months or 3 years. I know that's crazy, but it's coming, and it's going to be 1-to-1 or better in the foreseeable future, most likely. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in the next 6 months because with the way that the markets are headed, especially with this current bear flu that's coming on that everybody's going to be having so shortly. Yeah. Yeah, moving right along. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to this rant about gold. Gold is going to do well no matter what. Not as well as Bitcoin, but it's going to do well. So let's talk. Let's answer your questions. Before that, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button. I'm wondering. Before I answer the questions, I'm wondering how many people.
Liz has given us a very conservative estimate.
Pause this. Right, and how many people have hit my subscribe button? Let's go to see if we have over 70,000 viewers. Almost. Right, you know what? I was gonna give away some bitcoins to people to the viewers if we got to 70,000 views. So subscribers. So if we get to 70,000, one day maybe and I notice it. I will one day maybe give away some bitcoins to everybody in the chat group. So if you're watching this video afterwards, make sure that you're here for for our live streams, and they're generally in the mornings at 9 a.m. San Diego time. So check that out. Alrighty, so for today, right? If we get up to like 1,000 likes during the live stream, and I'm probably going to be here only another 10, 20 minutes maybe, we will give away some bitcoins. Alrighty. With that said, Inti, come on, let's see what we got today in questions.
Okay, we have a lot of good questions. Let's see. This is from Julio Yu and ask, what are your thoughts on the negative aspects of BTC semi-fungibility?
Okay, that's a good question. It's what he's saying is fungibility, right? Is basically when you have two, like for example, if you have the two assets and you're trying to trade them, are they the same type? Like for example, a chicken is not fungible, right? Somebody could say, well, wait a second, that chicken's better than that chicken, right? And also, what also destroys fungibility with money, right, is that, well, because a dollar is a dollar, right? If for example, somebody has the serial numbers on those dollars and says, hey, that's a stolen dollar, that's my dollar, and you got to give it back to me, right? That destroys the fungibility of money, and that's already been ruled that if you happen to have a stolen dollar and you didn't steal it, right? That's not your problem, right? They can't say, well, no, you can't use that dollar and take that away from you. That destroys fungibility. Now, what he's talking about is that Bitcoin has that problem, in a sense that the government, through analytics companies, have determined that this Bitcoin over here is bad. and it's a Bitcoin that was given to terrorists. And so if you use that Bitcoin, you're a terrorist. And so that's why some people who are getting into Bitcoin want to get the fresh new coins, right, rather than using old coins because they don't know where they came from. And yeah, it is destroying a little bit of the fungibility, but with coin joins and the new updates to Bitcoin, we'll see that fungibility problem go away because there's going to be Schnorr signatures, which will obfuscate where the Bitcoin originated from and mixed it with a bunch of other coins automatically, and so that nobody will know. Okay, well, wait a second. There's a plausible deniability because just because your transaction was mixed in with a bad person's coin doesn't make that made a bad transaction. So that makes it that turns the coin into a solid gold coin, basically a solid Bitcoin, gold Bitcoin. Yeah, and so don't worry about fungibility. They've already worked. The next upgrade to Bitcoin, which is not a breaking upgrade, it's a soft fork, will redress that problem. All right, next question.
Next question. This is a super chat from yesterday that we couldn't answer. It's a little bit off topic, so I'll leave it for the end.
Okay.
Okay, this is from Alex Crypto and said, Davinci, you said in a previous video, set up a company, pay yourself a salary, but does that mean trading under a company is not taxable? How does it work exactly?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of different rules, tax rules, and when you have a corporation. One of the rules is that, for example, losses that you take, let's just say you made. Let me give you an example. If you made a lot of money trading bitcoins last year, and you just killed it, and you made millions of dollars, and then in January, right, you need those funds, right, to pay taxes, but also to continue trading. So in January, you take huge amount of losses, like you get wiped out completely. You almost get wiped out, where you start from back to the beginning again. Well, according to the laws, tax laws, under individual taxes, you have to pay taxes of the winnings that you made the previous year, and you can't write off the losses of this year. And that's one of the rules that's unfair to individuals, right? And because the government says, well, you can't gamble with our money, tax money, but it's okay for a corporation to do that. It's fine and dandy, and that's legal, right? That's the sad thing. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? How as an individual you can't do the same things that a corporation can do when they're under law. That they're the same. They're individual. They're considered persons, but whatever. Anyways, it's absolutely insane. Yeah, and then on top of that, right? All your expenses that you make in a corporation. So let's just say you need to buy a computer to do the trading. Well, that's tax deductible. You need to buy you need to buy 4 screens. Well, that's tax deductible, right? You need snacks whilst you trade. Well, that's tax deductible.
I don't have 4 screens.
I mean, all that is tax deductible and is not tax deductible, right? If you try to do it as an individual. Yes, some of it is. Yeah, I have to admit that there is some things that they will let you go off of, right? But in general, you won't be able to get away with a lot of things you can get away with, and you can do a lot more than just what I've explained, right? By running a company and trading underneath that company and being basically a trader for the company that you've built and that you've traded and you deposit the money. So what you could do is You open up a corporation, even if you just do a simple one, right? Right there in your neighborhood, you don't have to go and do something fancy like corporation outside of the United States. It'd be better, right? Because you don't have to report anything, right? Only have to do is pay. Because if you do it a Belize company, you have zero reporting, right? As that corporation, Belize corporation. But as a corporation in the United States, you have to do you have to do the taxes of the corporation, then the taxes of your own personal taxes. But it'll be a little bit easier because what you can do is just pay yourself a low salary, and then just a low enough salary. But then anything else you need, books, whatever, stuff like that, you write that off as underneath the corporation, belonging to the corporation. And so your personal tax is a lot easier because you're just like, okay, well, I'm just taking living expenses out, and that's it. And it makes a whole lot easier on you. But it'd be that much more easier, right, if you could just move the corporation to Belize. But that's a lot more complicated. And then all the transactions, everything you do, all the trading, everything that's under that corporation does not have to be reported, right? It doesn't have to be reported to any government agency at all. So that's a cool thing. Good luck on opening one though, because they don't like doing that too often in Belize, but you can do it, right? It's just a little bit of work.
So, we have a super chat.
All right, what's the super chat?
This is from Matara36 and says, Hey Davinci, 1. Is it required to complete Know Your Client if I use Pandora's wallet because of volume of numbers of withdrawals? And 2, what exchanges are supported?
Okay, well, good question. Thank you very much for that question. The KYC that you have to go under is just with the exchanges that you use, and the exchanges that are supported right now, right, because we just finished it last week, is Bittrex, Bitfinex, and Poloniex. And so we're really happy that we've got those exchanges on. We're working on getting Ethereum up and running so that we can have even more coins. We'll have like Ethereum and all of its tokens all at once is our plan over the next 2 month and a half from now. We're hoping to get it done for the end of April, for the beginning of May, and that's what we're shooting for. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm going to be enjoying every minute of it, actually. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, next question.
Okay, this is from NZ Geert and says, Hey Davinci, I'm a big fan. Question. If we were to see a non-correlation, or better yet, an inverse correlation between Bitcoin and Wall Street, could that potentially spark a FOMO run on Bitcoin?
An inverse correlation will not spark a FOMO run on Bitcoin. Nothing will spark a FOMO run on Bitcoin until Bitcoin creates an all-time high. Because there's a saying out there. Brian always says it, actually. Brian from Beamish from The Rational Investor, right? That's where I learned how to trade, and you should check out his school. Links in the description below. He says, show me a new high, and I'll show you a buy. And so, yeah, I mean, that will create the real FOMO into Bitcoin when that happens. So don't worry, it will happen because there's a lot of on-ramps right now. Banks are going to be getting people buying Bitcoin for people and holding it in custodies and making it even easier for people to buy Bitcoin. So these insane numbers of 100K that in 2 years, they're coming. This is when you look at all the other assets, major assets out there that people hold, right? Bitcoin is like a rounding error in the portfolio of all the other assets. So yeah, there's a lot of room for Bitcoin to rise, and when it does, it's going to be spectacular. It's probably going to outperform Peter Schiff's funds by leaps and bounds. You will You could put money into Peter Schiff and his trading strategy, and you'll probably make money, but nothing compared to what you'll make just by hodling Bitcoin. And if just by hodling, and not talking about trading and trying to see if you can get more Bitcoin by gambling it on the exchanges, not knowing how to trade. If you if you learn how to trade properly and take it professionally, that's a different story. But if you're trying to, if you're thinking you could outsmart the market, don't. You won't. You won't. Okay. So, yeah, that's my advice for today. Next question.
Next question. This is from Expat Run and says, why do so many people say Bitcoin is not confiscable, yet so many reports of governments seizing and reselling Bitcoin?
Sorry, not confiscable.
Yes.
That's a word I've not heard of. I'm going to have to look that up.
I did not invent it, I swear of God.
Confiscable. I'm at a loss here. Well, I'm going to learn something. Let's see if I spelled that right. Oh, you mean confiscatable?
Wait a second. I need English classes.
Confiscatable.
Oh my God. Oh, this is embarrassing.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people.
We all make mistakes. That's all right. Don't feel bad, man. It's all good. Confiscatable. Okay. So.
Freaking Latino in front of 600 people.
That's all right. Don't feel bad. So the question again was, if it's like, let's read it again now that you know what the word is.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Why do so many people say Bitcoin is no confiscatable?
Confiscatable.
Okay, it's non-confiscatable. Yet so many reports of government seizing and selling and reselling Bitcoin.
Okay, now I got it. Okay. So I'm like totally lost. Okay, so I understand what he's trying to say. He's trying to tell me. He's saying that a lot of governments have gotten Bitcoins from criminal activities, and they're reselling it. Yeah, everybody's loving this joke, the confiscatable.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, basically, well, obviously, when you have Bitcoins, generally people don't use brain wallets, right? What's a brain wallet? Well, there's two types of brain wallets at this point in time. Now that, I wanted to do, I have to show that in the second type of brain wallet in another episode, but I promise I will do that next tomorrow, because it just blew my mind. Basically, every single one of these what are these hardware wallets, they have an option for you to put in a password that effectively will change the whole wallet, and you'll have different keys, different addresses, and everything. And if you don't put in that password, you'll just have the default wallet, and you could have like little or no money in that. And then you could have multiple, because like as much as you think, as any word that you could possibly think of, or phrase you could possibly think of, you could write it into the password, and it'll change the whole wallet structure completely, where that you have a different set of addresses. So if you use that feature, makes it hard for the government to confiscate. But if they know that you have the money, what they tend to do is say, okay, listen, we're going to reduce your sentence if you hand over the money. And so that's what most people do, is just they hand over the money because the government knows you have it, right? And another thing is that obviously sometimes you just leave the money on a computer with just a password, and they could see the money there, and they can say, hey, hand it over, right, or else we're going to kill you. Right? So yeah, that's another thing that they can do, right? So and then they can use password crackers and stuff like that. Especially since it's easy for them to like put what's it called, worms on your computer so that they can listen to you. They can do keyboard loggers to log all your whatever you're typing and use that to break into your wallet and then take your bitcoins and so forth from you. So that's on an individual basis, of course, and they'd have to actually go and break into every individual person's place to take it, and it makes it with
That's scary. That's scary.
I know it is scary, but with hardware wallets, they have to go to you. They couldn't break into your computer directly and take your bitcoins. But with hardware wallets, they have to come physically towards you in order to do so, and that's the difference.
No.
I'm gonna finish this stream off, and because I have probably another engagement with Crypto, and I'm going to answer that yesterday's live stream. Sorry, not live stream, but super chat question.
Oh yes, this is the cute one. This is to the moon and said, hey Davinci, I actually know master. I don't know how to read it. Who can cure migraine with a special message? I can put up to you when you come to Sweden.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. Right. I'd like to try that out. Right. I heard that in Germany and Netherlands there's a machine called the Bicom 2000 that can do wonders. Right. For chronic pain, allergies, and so forth. I've read about it, and it's pretty interesting. So yeah, it happens to be illegal to use in Canada and the United States, so it must work.
It's a good one.
So anyways, well, thank you guys all for watching. I have fun every day doing these videos, right? I you know what, I'll be honest here. As much as I have fun doing these videos, I like programming a little bit more. So there's a lot of things I like to do, right? But programming for me is my favorite pastime. And so that's why whenever there's something that I need to get done on the application, this sometimes falls. The video sometimes falls to the wayside. So please understand that. With that being said, check out the video that's popping up right here, right? And if you haven't seen that, and thank you very much for watching. Cheers, people.
Bye, people. Like English classes.
And hit the like and subscribe button once more. Cheers.
Cheers.